We're on course toward the second season of The Mandalorian. While a new trailer did drop on September 15th, it didn't give us any major revelations about the story of the season ahead. But today, we're going to talk about a theory of what the show might explore.
The songs of eons past tell of battles between Mandalore the Great and an order of sorcerers called Jedi.
Hello everyone, my name is Sage Goodwin, and welcome to Star Wars Now. During an interview in September 2019 with Entertainment Weekly, The Mandalorian series creator Jon Favreau sat down to talk about the show. One thing he touched on was how the show could potentially explore the origins of the First Order, the military junta prominently featured in the Star Wars sequel trilogy. Before we dive into today's video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and never miss a video from the team here at Star Wars Now. We're super excited to be sharing everything we know about The Mandalorian Season 2 with you, so stay tuned for even more content. Now it's worth noting that this original interview took place before The Mandalorian Season 1 aired, and also before Episode 9 The Rise of Skywalker premiered as well. This, of course, means that the article and original idea does not take into account the revelation of the final order, and also Moff Gideon's reveal at the end of Season 1. First, let's look back at what was actually said. Jon Favreau commented on the rise of the First Order in the Star Wars galaxy and how they succeeded the fallen Galactic Empire by saying the following. "This doesn't turn into a good guy universe because you blew up 2 Death Stars," Mandalorian director Dave Filoni quipped. "You get that the rebels won and they're trying to establish a republic, but there's no way that could have set in for everybody all at once. You have in a Western where you're out on the frontier and there might be Washington and they might have some marshals, but sometimes good luck finding one." He goes on to add the following and give perspective to the time frame in which The Mandalorian is set compared to The Force Awakens and Return of the Jedi. Also, what could happen in the 30 years between celebrating the defeat of the Empire and then the First Order, teased showrunner Jon Favreau. You come in Episode 7, the First Order are not just starting out, they're pretty far along. What is being said here is that essentially the First Order did not pop out of nowhere in the Star Wars universe. Thanks to books, video games, and other media, we know the First Order was being built up and constructed long before The Force Awakens came about. So the original idea of the Mandalorian series coming across the early foundations of the First Order does make sense in the first place. Season 1 showed us no glimpse of them at all, only a faction of the Imperial Remnant that were still present. It's worth taking into account some time frames and where certain events take place in the Star Wars timeline. Starting out, the final stand of the Empire took place in 5 ABY, which saw the Battle of Jakku take place. The result was the defeat and escape of Imperial forces to the unknown regions under the command of Grand Admiral Sloane. We know that by 21 ABY, what was left of the Imperial Remnant that had gone to the unknown regions had reorganized into the First Order, but dates here are slightly departed. The Star Wars novel Bloodline states the First Order began to build its navy at least 7 years before the formation of the Resistance. The Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker Visual Dictionary dates the formation of the Resistance to 6 years before the Starkiller incident, which Star Wars Galactic Atlas dates to 34 ABY. Therefore, the Resistance must have been formed in 28 ABY, and the First Order was in existence by 21 ABY. The Mandalorian Season 1's approximate date is 9 ABY, with Din Djarin rescuing the child and battling Imperial warlord Moff Gideon and his Imperial Remnant on the planet of Navarro. In 29 ABY, Centrist worlds secede from the New Republic and would join the First Order, making the public formation of the military junta. After a brief Cold War with the New Republic and some skirmishes with General Leia Organa's resistance, the First Order would publicly reveal itself in 34 ABY, when it used Starkiller Base to strike and destroy the New Republic's capital, Osnian Prime. There are 12 years between The Mandalorian Season 1 and when we know the Imperial Remnant, or what was left of it, was reorganized into the First Order. It's also worth noting that in The Mandalorian, we're dealing with Moff Gideon's Imperial Remnant. It's currently unclear if they're anything to do with the Remnant that would become the First Order. I would personally say they are both different right now. Thanks to the Season 2 trailer, we know that we're going to an ice planet, which has led many to revisit this article from Entertainment Weekly about seeing the origins of the First Order. It's unclear in the trailer if this planet is Ilum, as ice planets typically do look similar in Star Wars. But given the Mandalorian is seeking to return the child to his people, the Jedi, it would make sense to go to Ilum, which was a sacred place to the Jedi Order. But the current status of Ilum may be in flux, and this is where the First Order would come into play, or even another Imperial Remnant faction. If you played Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, the game story, which took place in 14 BBY, revealed that the Galactic Empire has taken control of the planet Ilum, which was located in the unknown regions, and started strip mining it for kyber crystals. While kyber crystals would go on to be used for the Death Star, the planet was also terraformed by Palpatine into something even worse. As mentioned earlier, 5 ABY saw the Galactic Empire's remnants disappear into the unknown regions and eventually reorganized into the First Order. It's safe to assume that given Ilum would become Starkiller Base eventually, then it would be a primary outpost for an upcoming First Order. We know the construction and terraforming of Starkiller Base took 30 years, so it's not likely that Ilum was left alone for some time. If The Mandalorian Season 2 does take Din Djarin and the child to the frozen planet of Ilum within the unknown regions, I think we're going to run into what is the origins of the First Order. Of course, by the time of 9 ABY, they're unlikely to look like the First Order just yet, but we're most likely going to see the Imperial Remnant and what they're working on. Given Star Wars is all about tying media into each other these days, with crossovers and media covering each other's aspects, it's safe to say that this theory and old article does now have some more weight to it. Ultimately, we'll need to wait and see what lies ahead for The Mandalorian Season 2. That wraps up our video for today. If you have any thoughts of your own to share, then please do leave a comment in the comment section below. We would love to hear from you. Don't forget to also hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from us here at Star Wars Now. I've been Sage Goodwin. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.